I got it. Hallelujah. Okay, Isaiah chapter 1, verse 19. We want to read this into your hearing. Isaiah chapter 1, verse 19 through 20. We want to read this into your hearing. Come on, what it say?
If ye be willing and obedient, ye shall eat the good of the land.
Now notice it prefixes by saying, if. If ye. Read it again.
If ye be willing and obedient.
If ye be willing and obedient. Come on.
Ye shall eat the good of the land.
You shall eat the good of the land. So if I ask the question, how many people here want to eat the good of the land? How many people would say yes or no to that? Which one? Would y'all want to eat the good of the land or not?
Yes.
Okay, so Cain, right? So the only way you're able to eat the good of the land, there's two prerequisites. And those prerequisites are what? Being willing and being what? Obedient. Okay? Look at what it says on the other side, contrary to that. Come on.
But if ye refuse and rebel.
But if ye refuse and rebel, come on.
Ye shall be devoured with the sword.
Ye shall be devoured by or with the sword. Come on.
For the mouth of the Lord hath spoken it.
For the mouth of Yahweh has spoken it. So now, in order not to eat the good of the land, all you have to do is to refuse and rebel. And if you refuse and rebel, not only will you not eat the good of the land, but you will also be what? Devoured with the what? Sword. See, a lot of people think that they're getting away with stuff, but you ain't getting away with anything. These commandments and laws and statutes are in the earth that the Father has given to his people, are given to us for a reason. And we're either going to do those laws, statutes, and judgments, or we're going to be people that refuse and rebel, and we're going to ultimately be devoured by the sword. I used to wonder all the time why so many young people are getting killed. And so many young people and even older people are getting shot and killed. You know, a lot of times at ages that don't even make sense. You got 15-year-olds and 14-year-olds. And I'm like, man, what's going on? Well, the book already gives us and tells us why. He says, if ye be willing and obedient, you're going to eat the good of the land. And you won't be devoured by the sword. Modern day sword is a gun. But he says, if you refuse and rebel, you shall be devoured by the sword. And you don't have to be 16 and 17 and 18 to be refusing and be rebelling. You can be 6, 7, 8, and 9 and refuse to obey and to rebel. Are y'all hearing this? So disobedience and non-compliance don't necessarily have an age. When you look at somebody that's younger, you see 5, 6, and 7 year olds, you're like, oh, well, they're going to obey just because the parent is bigger than them. But I've seen parents in the store where the child is acting completely rebellious. The mother, the father say, go over here, and the child does the complete opposite of that. And what ends up happening is we look at that, and in the back of our mind, we say, boy, if that child was mine, why, crap, I would do shit. Am I here by myself? I like, boy, that child, I whoop his little tail. But the Most High is saying something that's very clear. He's given us commandments. He's given us rules and guidelines and instructions to live our life by. And when we go outside of those rules and those commandments and those instructions for our life, then it's not going to fare well with us. Are y'all hearing that?
Yes, right.
The word willing there, it means to be willing, to consent, to be willing, to consent, to yield to. See, sometimes it's hard to yield to when you have a stubbornness on the inside of yourself. When you're stubborn and you have a stubborn will, it's hard for you to yield the right of way to proper instructions because you just want to have your way so bad. The word willing means to accept. The word willing has to do with to desire.
Yes.
To desire to please, to desire to want to conform. That's what the word willing means. So the Father is letting us know that in order for you to be obedient, there has to be this willing attitude, this willing heart, this willing mind, this willing spirit in order for you to obey. It starts with having a willingness, which means to be able to yield, to give consent, to be able to accept, to have this desire. Y'all hearing that? Genesis chapter 24 deals with the wife of Isaac, or deals with Isaac, Abraham's servant, going to find a wife for his son Isaac. And Abraham is going to say something very important to his servant, dealing with the woman that he picks out for his son. Let's read the story and pick it up at Genesis chapter 24, verse 4. What did it say?
But thou shalt go unto my country.
These were the instructions that Abraham gave to his servant to go find a wife for Isaac. First thing he told him was to do what?
Go into my country.
He said, go to my country. Go into my country. Come on.
Into my kindred.
And to my kindred.
And take a wife unto my son Isaac.
And that's why I want you to get the wife for my son Isaac. In my country, among my kinfolk. Come on.
And the servant said unto him, peradventure the woman will not be willing to follow me unto this land.
He said, what if the woman don't want to come to this land? What if she is not willing? What if she's not having that desire to leave where she's at? She may want to stay where the Father told you to leave from. She might not be willing to come into this land. What if she's like that? What he say?
Must thy needs bring thy son again unto the land from whence thou came.
So he asked a very good question. He said, I'm going to your country and to your kinfolk to begin to find a wife for your son. But what if the woman don't want to go? Do I then go get your son and bring him back to the land? Because I may find somebody that may be perfect for your wife, be perfect for your son, but she just might not be willing to come. And that lets you know and understand how the servant's mindset was. Watch what Abraham says to the servant. Come on.
And Abraham said unto him, beware, that thou bring not my son thither again.
So he said, listen, servant, I want you to beware. Do not bring my son back into the place that the Father has brought me and called me out of. Don't bring my son back to that country or back to that place. I just want you to get a wife from there and bring that wife to him. But do not bring him back to the place that the Father brought me out of. Are y'all hearing this? What else he say?
The Lord God of heaven, which took me from my father's house and from the land of my kindred, and which spake unto me, and that sware unto me, saying, unto thy seed I will give this land. He shall send his angel before thee, and thou shalt take a wife unto my son from thence. And if the woman will not be willing to follow thee, then thou shalt be clear from this my oath.
So what he let him know and understand was that, listen, don't take my son back there because the Father brought me out of that place. And he said, if the woman that you find is not willing, because everything starts with what? A willing mind. Yeah. Somebody say, I got to have a willing mind. See, that's where it starts at. If you don't have a willing mind to obey, if you don't have a willing mind to do what the Father's requiring of you, then you can forget it. You're not going to do it. So he said, if she doesn't have a willing mind to follow thee, then you shall be clear from the oath, because he made the servant swear that he would not take his son back to that place. He said, if the woman is not willing to come, then you're clear from this oath. Come on.
Only bring not my son thither again.
Don't bring my son to that land. Okay? This is Exodus chapter 35. This is dealing with the construction and the building of the tabernacle. Because again, we want to identify what does it mean to have a willing mind. A willing mind. Okay? That's what we're talking about. Willingness and obedience. And we know that if we're willing and obedient, we're going to eat the what? The good of the land. But if we are refuse and rebel, then we're going to be devoured by the what? The sword. Okay? So this is the tabernacle, or the construction of the tabernacle of Moses in the time when the children of Israel came out of Egypt. Look at the people and look at how they had a willing mind. What did it say?
And Moses spake to all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying,
So Moses spoke to who? All the congregation of Israel. Okay? And what did he say to all of the congregation of Israel?
This is a thing which the Lord commanded, saying, take ye from among you an offering unto the Lord.
Moses is about to take up an offering. Y'all know how it was when y'all was in the mother churches and it was offering time. Everybody started running to the bathroom, running out. And so Moses is dealing with, talking to the congregation of Israel, and he's about to deal with them concerning the offering. What did he say?
Whosoever is...
He said, take from... Read that part.
Take ye from among you an offering unto the Lord.
So take an offering, get an offering. Come on.
Whosoever is of a willing heart.
So we don't take offerings from people who don't have a willing heart to give nothing. See, a lot of people become Israelites and then they turn into stingy-lights. They say, no, we ain't got to support nobody. We ain't got to purchase nothing. We ain't got to buy nothing. We ain't got to give nothing. You know, you ain't supposed to do this, so therefore we ain't buying nothing. We want to bootleg everything. We want to cause everything not to be supported. We'll get it from the internet. We'll download it from somebody else. We'll share it. Because I do music. And I know how it is when you spend your time working on a project and you're working and you're putting all your effort into it and you're going back trying to get it to sound a certain way. And then you finally have the finished product. And then you begin to put it out there. People start listening to it. And nobody supports you. Nobody gives a donation. Nobody does anything to encourage you to say, man, I received that ministry. I received that sacrifice and that diligence and that, perfection as you was putting all your heart and your soul in doing the thing for Yahweh with all your heart and mind. They rather download it, bootleg it, and not support it with donations. Are y'all hearing this? And that's a wrong way to have a mind. Because right here, Moses is telling the children of Israel, get an offering, but don't ask it. He's not dealing with everybody. He's only dealing with the ones who have a willing heart. A willing heart. I remember some saints came by here and they heard me preach. They heard me minister. They saw the ministry. Then they went downstairs. They ate food. And the brother came up. He said, man, I went to your service. I heard the praise and worship. I heard the preaching. Then we went downstairs and we ate and we were full spiritually and full physically. He said, but not one time did you ask for any donation or any type of thing like that. He said, brother, I feel bad not giving something. He said, brother, I got to give you something because y'all have treated me with the utmost, like a family member, And I said, you are family, brother. He said, can I leave a donation? I said, absolutely. We'll receive your donation or your offering, whatever you want to give. And he gave out of a willing heart. It was not forced. It was not coerced. But it was just the love and the ministry that he appreciated. And that's what we do. We minister, we preach, and only people with a willing heart will do those kind of things. We'll see the sweat equity of the work that you're doing and say, listen, man, I want to support what you're doing. Just to encourage you, just to tell you to keep on keeping on. And all of those things mean everything. When you labor and you're not looking for the reward from men, but you're looking for the reward from him. But as you're going through life, it's good for somebody just to come and say, man, I appreciate what you're doing, brother. I know your sacrifice. You took some time to develop and create the things that you created. And brother, I appreciate it. Here's an offer. Here's something for you just to encourage you. Are y'all hearing that? So he says, whomsoever is of a willing heart. We ain't trying to take people's things. If you don't have a willing heart, then keep what you got. But if you have a willing heart, he said, whosoever is of a willing heart, come on.
Let him bring it.
Let him bring it. If you got a willing heart, let him bring it. Come on.
And offer to the Lord.
And offer it to the Most High. What did he say? Offer.
Gold.
Offer gold.
And silver.
Silver. Brass.
And blue and purple.
Blue and purple. Come on.
Scarlet.
Come on.
And fine linen.
Scarlet and fine linen.
And goat's hair.
Goat's hair. Come on.
Lamb skins.
Come on.
Red. And badger skin. And shittim wood. And oil for the light.
Come on.
Spices for anointing oil. And for the sweet incense. and onyx stones, and stones to be set from the ephod and for the breastplate.
So Moses was collecting things that had to do with what they were trying to get done, to get accomplished. How many people know that we're trying to get some things done and get some things accomplished? Hallelujah. And it requires that. Okay, let's read on. What did it say?
And every wise-hearted.
And every wise-hearted. Y'all hearing that? So there has to be some wisdom in your giving. And every wise-hearted, come on,
among you shall come and make all that the Lord hath commanded.
Come on.
The tabernacle, his tent, and his covering, his tacks, and his boards, and his bars, pillars, and his sockets, the ark and the staves thereof, with the mercy seat, and the veil of the covering, the table and its staves, and all the vessels, and the shewbread, the candlestick also for the light, and its furniture, and his lamps, with the oil for the light.
So they had a lot to do, didn't they? Just reading that list, y'all see they had a lot to get accomplished, and it required everybody's help in order to get this work accomplished. Come on, what else he said?
And the incense altar, and his staves, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the hanging for the door at the entering in of his tabernacle, the altar of burnt offering, with his brazen grate, his staves, and all his vessels, the laver of his foot, the hangings of the court, his pillars and their sockets, and the hanging for their doors of the court, the pins of the tabernacle, the pins of the court and their boards, the cloths of service to do service in their holy place, the holy garments for Aaron, for the priest, and the garments of his sons to minister in the priest's office.
Y'all hearing all that? Yes. They had to do a whole lot of work. Everything had to be done. And it required the people doing it in order for it to get accomplished. Come on.
And all the congregation.
No, some of the congregation. Some of the congregation just looked at everybody else doing it. 1% of the congregation looked at it, the 99% of everybody doing it. The 10% of the congregation looked at the 80% doing it. It's actually the other way around. The 99% looked at the 1% do all the work. The 90% looked on while the 10% did all of the work. No, he said, and all the congregation of the children of Israel. Not some, but all. All of the congregation of the children. So, see, some people think, well, all my parents did that already, so therefore I don't have to do it. Huh? That's not true. He said it all. Oh, well, my cousin did that. I don't have to do. No, my uncle did that. He took care of that for us. No, he said all of the congregation of the children of Israel did what?
Departed from the presence of Moses, and they came.
And they came. After they departed, then they came back with something. They came what?
Everyone whose heart stirred him up.
They came, everyone whose heart stirred him up. Those are the ones that came with something. They came because their hearts were stirred up. Come on.
And everyone whom the Spirit made willing.
And everyone who the Spirit made willing. Come on.
And they brought the Lord's offering.
And they brought Yahweh's offering. But who was asking for the offering of? Was it Yahweh asking for it, or was it Moses? Come on, talk to me. Was it Moses asking for it, or was it Yahweh asking for it? Moses. But who was leading Moses to ask for it? Yahweh. Are y'all seeing this, though? Because some people say, well, Yahweh ain't spoke to me. And because he ain't spoke to me, I ain't doing nothing. But he did send a servant to speak and to give the word of what it is that we're trying to do, right? Right. All right? So we can't use that. Well, he ain't speak to me. He may have spoke to Moses. You know, it was people like that. Yep. Oh, he spoke to Moses, but he ain't speak to me. My heart is not stirred. That's why it says, and they came, everyone whose heart stirred him up. Come on.
Everyone whom the Spirit made willing, and they brought the Lord's offering to the work of the tabernacle of the congregation, and for all his service, and for holy garments. So for all the services and all the holy garments, they brought what was needed for that to take place and for that to do it. Yeah.
Hallelujah. All right, come on, what it say?
And they came, both men and women, as many as were willing-hearted.
See? And they came, both men and women, as many as were what? Willing-hearted. That don't mean willing in your heart right here that pumps blood, but the heart has to do with the mind. They had a willing mind, and they brought what?
Bracelets and earrings and rings.
Now tell somebody to do that today. Take them old fancy gold earrings and fancy gold bracelets made of pure gold. Bring them things in. What? I ain't bringing mine. Pastor, the Lord didn't tell me that. Y'all know we'll say it in a minute, right? The Lord didn't get. Come on, give me them nice Timberland boots there. Yeah, we can do something with those. Pastor, I don't think. They bring them nice leather Jordans there. Them things you pay $200. Yeah, bring Pastor. I got to play ball and not these. Yeah, you know. The brand new ones. They just got. Everybody be making this here. It said they brought the bracelets, the earrings, the rings. I just got it. Listen, I can't get this out. Come on.
And tablets, all jewels of gold, and every man that offered an offering of gold.
Now we know these tablets ain't the tablets we talking about, but what if we modernize it? Said bring them iPads and all that here too. That's my electronic stuff. The tablets, too. He took the tablets. What is Moses gonna do with an iPad in the wilderness? That church don't need no technology. No, now we know that's not the tablets talking about. But go ahead on. He said, some of the gold jewelry. All jewelry of what? All jewelry of gold. Well, I was just about to do something with that piece of jewelry there, Moses. Come on. And every man
that offered an offering of gold unto the Lord.
Everybody offered something that was made of gold. Y'all hearing that? Everybody did. Come on.
And every man.
Now I can hear somebody saying, well, Pastor, you do know that. The children of Israel obviously didn't know the value in the things that they were giving, because if they had only known the value of the things that they were giving, they surely wouldn't give all of that. No, they understood the value of what they were giving, but because they had the willing mind to do it, it was nothing to them to do it. All right, come on.
And every man with whom was found blue and purple and scarlet and fine linen and goat's hair and red skins of ram and badger skin.
Now I hear somebody saying, you know what, that's what I'm going to offer then. I'm going to go find some blue and purple scarlet, some fine linen, and I'm going to find me some goat's hair, and I'm going to put that in the collection plate. Now what do you think about that, Pastor Tatum? Now where you going to get it from? Right? Well, I'll find some, and I'm going to bring it and put it right in the offering plate. Right? All right, come on. But nevertheless, what did they do? They brought it, right? Everyone, come on.
Everyone that did offer an offering of silver and brass brought the Lord's offering.
So we know that all of them bought gold, and all of them bought silver and brass. So if somebody said, I'm just going to bring the blue and the purple and the scarlet and the fine linen, but they also offer gold too. Y'all hearing that? See, what they're trying to do is, because they're stingylites, they don't want to offer what is the most valuable things, because that thing really has them, and they're not free from it. Are y'all hearing this? Yeah, you can offer the red skin, the gold hair, and all of that, if that's what we're doing, building the tabernacle, right? But they also offered gold, they also offered silver and brass. And they look at the preacher and say, well, all y'all want is the gold, the silver, and the brass. All right? Come on, what it say?
And every man with whom was found shittim wood for any work for the service brought it.
All right? So anybody that has they bring in things that is going to enable us to fulfill what the Father asks for us to do, then you ought to bring that. All right? Yeah, we need laptop computers. Yeah, we can use that. We can use musical instruments. If we're teaching people how to play the piano and how to sing, there's certain equipment that you would need in order for that to happen. If that's what we're constructing, if we're constructing a studio, if we're trying to construct a building, if we try, I don't understand it. Everything that's needed for the building, that's what we need to be doing. Okay, what did it say?
And all the women that were wise-hearted did spin with their hands.
All the women, all the sisters in Israel, they were the ones that were wise at heart. What did they do?
Spin with their hands.
Come on.
And brought that which they had spun, both of blue and of purple, and of scarlet and of fine linen. And all the women whose heart stirred them up, the wisdom spun goat's hair. And the rulers brought onyx stones and stones to be set for the ephod and for the breastplate, and spice and oil for the light, and for the anointing oil, and for the sweet incense.
Notice it's telling you who gave what. It's letting you know that the women had a role in it. It's letting you know the rulers, they had a role to do. Everybody had a role to play, and everybody had an opportunity to give. Come on.
The children of Israel brought a willing offering to the Lord.
They brought an offering that was, they weren't willing to give. This is, they brought what kind of offering?
A willing offering.
A willing offering. Come on.
Every man and woman whose heart made them willing to bring for all manner of work, which the Lord had commanded to be made by the hand of Moses.
So Yahweh commanded it to be made, and Moses asked the people for it, and they brought it. Everybody got that?
Yeah.
Come on.
And Moses said unto the children of Israel, see, the Lord hath called by the name Bezalel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, and he hath filled him with the Spirit of God, in wisdom, in understanding, and in knowledge, and in all manner of worship.
So as they were given all of that, the Father even started filling people with the Spirit to be able to make the things that He was telling them to make. Because these things were brand new. These were things they ain't never saw before. But the Spirit of Yahweh got on these men from the tribe of Judah, and they started making these items that the Father was declaring as they brought in the various offerings. Come on.
And to devise curious works in gold and in silver and in brass, and the cutting of stones to set them, and carving of wood to make any manner of cunning work.
Any manner of cunning work. The Spirit of the Father got into him. Come on, let's finish it up.
And he hath put in his heart that he may teach, both he and Holiab, the son of
Shemesh, of the tribe of Dan.
Them hath he filled with the wisdom of heart to work all the manner of work of the engraver and the cunning workman, and the embroiderer, and the blue and purple and scarlet, and in fine linen, and of the weaver, even of them that do any work, of those that devise cunning work.
So the Father filled all of those people with the Spirit of Yah so that they could get this thing accomplished, because the Father had something that He wanted to be accomplished, and He brought the wisdom, the knowledge, and the understanding to the people who would be the ones, after all of the offerings and things came in, to be able to use that stuff to build the tabernacle of the Most High. But they all had to be what? Willing and what? And obedient. Because it always starts with that. So everybody say, I have to be willing, and I have to be obedient. Now, I want y'all to see someone who was willing to do something, but the Father didn't want him to do something. I'm going to show you now someone who was willing to do something, but the Father commanded him not to do what he was willing to do. Because that's important too. A lot of times we are willing to do something, but if the Father is telling you and not commanding you to do something, then you're going to have to cease and desist. Are y'all here?
Yes.
Okay, watch this. This is David in 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 16. He had it in his heart to build the house of Yahweh, and he had it all within him, in his heart, to do this work. Let's see what the book says. 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 16. What did it say?
Since the day that I brought forth my people Israel out of Egypt, I chose no city out of all the tribes of Israel to build in a house, and that my name might be in therein. But I chose David to be over my people Israel.
So what was David chose to do?
Be over the
All right, be over the people of the children of Israel. Come on.
And it was in that heart of David, my father, to build a house for the name of the Lord God of Israel.
What was in David's heart to do? So in his heart, he had a willing and an obedience to want to build the house of Yahweh. That was in his heart. That's something that was in his heart to do. Okay? Now that don't sound like a bad thing, does it? No. Sound like a good thing to be in your heart to do. Watch this.
And the Lord said unto David, my father, where is it in thy heart to build a house unto my name? Thou didst well that it was in thy heart. So
the father said, hey, I'm going to commend you because it was in your heart to do this. Because I was looking for a place where I wanted to put my name and to put my spirit and make that the place. And it was good that that was in your heart, David. Okay? Come on, what is that?
Nevertheless, thou shalt not build the house.
Uh-oh. So here we are. Now a person who's willing to want to do this. But what did the father just say? Nevertheless, what?
Thou shalt not build the house.
Thou shalt not do it. So he had a willing heart to do it. But the father said, I don't want you to do it. So guess what you're going to have to be? Are you going to be rebellious and refuse? Remember, if you rebellious and refuse, you're going to what? Be destroyed devoured by the sword. So he said, nevertheless, thou shalt not build a house. But what?
But thy son that shall come forth out of thy loins, he shall build a house unto my name.
So now, David, what you going to do now? Now you willing and you want to do what the father, you got this in your heart to do it, but you ain't going to be the one that's going to be chosen to do it. It's going to be your son. So now what you do? You got a willing heart, but the father said no. Yeah. 1 Chronicles chapter 28, verse 2, what it say?
Then David the king stood up upon his feet and said, hear me, my brethren, and my people. As for me, I had in my heart to build a house of the rest of the ark, of the covenant of the Lord, and for the footstool of our God, and had made ready for the building.
Come on.
But God said unto me, thou shalt not build a house for my name, because thou hast been a man of war and hast shed blood.
So he didn't want him to do it because he had been a man of war and he had shed blood. Come on.
Howbeit, the Lord God of Israel chose me before all the house of my father to be king over Israel forever. So he had a role to play, and his role was to be the king over Israel. Okay? Come on. Whatever. Come on. For he has chosen Judah to be the ruler in the house of Judah, the house of my father, and among the sons of my father, he like me, and make me king. Read that again. For he has chosen. For he has chosen Judah to be the ruler in the house, and of the house of Judah, the house of my father, and among the sons of my father, he like me to make me king over all Israel. So I guess David was from the tribe of what? All right, come on. And of all my sons, the Lord hath given me many sons. He hath chosen Solomon my son to sit upon this throne of the kingdom of the Lord of all Israel. Okay, y'all heard that, right? Watch this. And he said unto me, Solomon, thy son, you shall build my house and my courts, for I have chosen him to be my son. So this is a different dynamic. It's going from one generation to the next generation. Even though the father had a willing heart to want to do it, he couldn't do it, but he passed it on to his son to do it. Come on. I have chosen him to be my son, and I will be his father. Moreover, I will establish the kingdom forever, if he be constant to do my commandments and my judgment as at this day. Come on. Now therefore, in the sight of all Israel, the congregation of the Lord, and in the audience of our God, keep and seek for all the commandments of the Lord your God, that ye may possess this good land, and leave it for the inheritance of your children after you forever. So he told Solomon, he said, I've chosen him if he be what? Constant to do my command. He's chose Solomon if Solomon can only stay consistent with the commandments and with the judgments of the Father this day, he would be established. That was the bar he set for Solomon. And then he went on to say, now therefore, this is David, in the sight of the congregation of Israel, in the ordinance of Yah, he says, keep and seek
for all the commands of Yah. Y'all hearing that? Come on. And it says that ye may possess this good land. In other words, David was putting the willingness and the obedience together from one generation to the next generation. He said, I got the willingness. If they can keep the obedience, we can do some great things for the rest of our lives, all the way down the line through the ones that come after us. The willingness of David and the obedience of his son. Are y'all hearing this? Willing and obedience have to be together. Yeah. Come on, and what does it say?
And thou, Solomon my son, know thou the God of thy father, and serve him with a perfect heart.
So he told him to know, he said, serve him with a what kind of heart? A perfect heart. Come on.
And with a willing mind.
There you go. So David was talking and said, Solomon, when you take the throne, serve Yahweh with a perfect heart and with a willing mind. Everybody say perfect heart.
Perfect heart.
Willing mind.
Willing mind.
That's how he was going to serve the nation of Israel. With a perfect heart towards Yahweh and with a willing mind towards the things of Yah. Come on.
For the Lord searcheth all hearts and understandeth all the imaginations of the thoughts.
Y'all hear that? Keep it turn. Y'all hearing that? Yahweh searches all the hearts and understandings of the imaginations of the thoughts. Come on, what it say?
If thou seek him, he will be found of thee.
If thou seek him, he will be found of thee. Come on.
But if thou forsake him, he will cast thee off forever.
Come on.
Take heed now, for the Lord hath chosen thee to build an house for the sanctuary. Be strong and do it.
Be strong and do it, because willingness and obedience have to come together in order for truly the will and the plans of Yah to come to pass. Hallelujah. Then what it says right here, 1 Chronicles 22, what it says in 1.
Then David said, This is the house of the Lord God, and this is the altar of the burnt offering for Israel. And David commanded to gather together the strangers that were in the land of Israel. And he set masons to hew wrought stones to build the house of God.
So David didn't kick the strangers out of the land, but he gathered the strangers that was in the land. And he went and he set masons to hew wrought stones to build the house of Yahweh. Come on.
And David prepared iron in abundance for the nails for the doors of the gates, and for the joinings, and brass in abundance without weight. Also cedar trees in abundance for the Zidonians, and they of Tyre brought much cedar wood to David.
So what he's showing you is that David had in his heart to build the house of Yahweh. So he said, well, I can't build it, but I sure can prepare for it. I can lay up so many nails. They got nails for days. I can get the wood and just stack up wood for days. So when that time comes, all they got to do is go get this, go get that, and it'll all be done. It'll all be ready for them to put it all together. That's some kind of heart, ain't it? Hallelujah. What did he say?
And David said, Solomon my son is young and tender, and a house that is to be built for the Lord must be exceeding magnificent of fame and of glory throughout all countries. I will therefore now make preparation for it. So David prepared abundantly before his death.
What a good way to go out. I'm just going to be preparing this next work for Yahweh. And that's how we ought to be in our generation. Preparing the work, getting the work done, the things that we have to do in order for the next generation to continually carry on the legacy of obedience, being willing and obedient. But we have to be an example of what willingness and obedience is. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Come on.
Then David gave to Solomon his son the pattern of the porch, and of the houses thereof, and of the treasures thereof, and of the upper chambers thereof, and of the inner parlors thereof, and of the place of mercy, of the mercy seat, and a pattern of all that he had by the Spirit, of the courts of the house of the Lord, and all the chambers round about, of the treasuries of the house of God, and of the treasuries of the dedicated things.
So David started showing Solomon all the patterns on how how the house of Yah, what it was going to look like. And I heard somebody tell me before, I was trying to get an enclosed porch. And the guy who came and did it for me, he said, oh, okay, we're going to put the door right here. We're going to put this right here. We're going to put that right there. And he said, you see it? You see what I'm saying? You see how I'm doing? I could see nothing he was talking about. I said, no, I can't see it until after you build it. He said, oh, man, the door going to be right here. The screen going to be right here. The wood going to be... I couldn't see nothing he talking about. No. What this shows me and lets me understand is that even though David couldn't physically build the temple, he did have a part in building the temple. Because it was already in his heart and in his spirit. He can already see in his mind the pattern of what this temple was supposed to look like. And he gave the patterns of the porch and everything to his son Solomon. So who really built the temple? So Yahweh is awesome. Because even though he couldn't physically build it, he showed him what it would look like. And he gave the pattern to his son. He gave it what it's supposed to look like to his son. This is how you're going to build a porch. This is the pattern of this. These are the blueprints of what it's supposed to see. Because any true leader has to be able to see it before it comes to pass. Are y'all hearing that?
Yes, right.
He had a vision and he set it all up for his son Solomon to fulfill. Come on.
Also for the courses of the priests and the Levites, and for all the work of the service of the house of the Lord, and for all the vessels of service in the house of the Lord, he gave of gold by weight for things of gold, for all instruments of all manner of service, silver also for all instruments of silver by weight, for all instruments of every kind of service.
So he made sure, David made sure, that there will be nothing lacking in the house of Yahweh. All the instruments was taken, everything that needed to go on with the service of Yahweh was taken care of by David, including the plans on how everything was supposed to come out and look. And Solomon, his son, could look at all of the things that his father had prepared, and he could get to work in his generation, making this a glorious and a magnificent looking building. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Come on.
Even the weight for the candlesticks of gold.
I don't hear it. Even down to the finest detail David took care of. Even the weight of the candlesticks of gold. Come on.
And for their lamps of gold, by weight for every candlestick, and for lamps thereof, and for the candlesticks of silver by weight, both for candlestick and also for the lamps thereof, according to the use of every candlestick.
I think David had a part in planning and building this temple. What y'all think? I mean, he got everything down to the candlestick weight. Come on now. Ain't nobody thinking about the candlestick weight, but David was. He was thinking about everything that had to do with the house of Yahweh being magnificent and glorious. Hallelujah. This is a prophecy about the willingness of the people of Israel over here in Psalms 110. Come on, what did it say in Psalms 110?
The Lord said unto my Lord, sit thou at my right hand, until I make thine enemies thy footstool.
Y'all remember that in Hebrews too? Come on, what did it say?
The Lord shall send the rod of thy strength out of Zion. Roll down in the midst of thine enemies. Thy people shall be willing in the day of thy power.
See, thy people shall be what? Willing in the day of thy power. We're going to be willing to put all of these doctrines aside and begin to start coming together when we start seeing the power of Yah. Because the power of Yah is waking his children up everywhere.
Yes, he is.
And we're going to have a mind to be willing and obedient. Hallelujah. Come on.
In the beauties of holiness from the womb of the morning, thou hast do as thy youth.
Hallelujah. Come on.
The Lord hath sworn and will not repeat. Thou art repent. Thou art a priest forever after order of
Melchizedek.
The Lord at thy right hand shall strike through things in the day of his wrath.
So it's Yahweh at his right hand shall strike through kings in the day of his wrath. So everyone that's in some kind of leadership or rulership in that day, the Father says he's going to strike through kings in that day of his wrath. Hallelujah. Say loud. This is a yielded will by the Messiah, Yeshua. And we're going to finish out with these last few passages here. Here is the yielded will by the Messiah Yeshua. He's going to show you how to yield and how to bend and turn your will over into the will of Yahweh. Luke chapter 22, what did it say?
And he came out and went as he wont to the Mount of Olives, and his disciples also followed him. And when he was at place, he said unto them, Pray that ye enter not into temptation.
Come on.
And he was withdrawn from them about a stone's cast, and kneeled down, and prayed, saying, Father, if thou be willing, remove this cup from me.
So what was the question that Yeshua just asked his father? If thou be what? Willing. Come on. Remove this cup from me. So now Yeshua is looking at the father and saying, come on, if you be willing, why don't you remove this cup from me? Don't let me have to drink from this cup of wrath, this cup of judgment. Is there any way, if you're willing, can you remove this cup from me? Yeah. But look at what Yeshua said.
Nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done.
Now, how many people can get to the point to where you know you have to do something difficult, but yet say, nevertheless, it ain't about me. Nevertheless, it ain't about what I want to do. Nevertheless, not my will, but thy will be done. That was a willing heart that he taught us how to say, even though you have a will to do something else, contrary, that you still say, nevertheless, it ain't about me, but it's about his will being done. And again, we have to have a willing mind and a willing heart if we're going to begin to obey what the Father is saying. We have to be willing and obedient. Are y'all hearing that? Yeah. Come on.
And being in agony.
And being in agony. See, sometimes to do the will of Yahweh in your life, sometimes you may be in agony doing that will. You may be under pressure doing that will. You may be under restraint doing that will. Just like the Messiah, he said, being in agony. What did he do?
He prayed more earnestly.
He prayed a little bit harder. So a lot of times when we're going through, we need to begin to pray more earnestly that we're able to overcome our flesh. Yeshua was showing us how to overcome our flesh. Just like Paul said, I die what? Daily. So he prayed more earnestly to what happened?
And his sweat was as it were great drops of blood falling down to the ground.
So he was truly in some agony, wasn't he? He was truly in something that he really wanted the cup to be removed, but he said, nevertheless, not my will be done. And he prayed more earnestly to drops of blood begin to fall to the ground from his brow. Come on, and what did he say?
And when he rose up from prayer and was come to his disciples, he found them sleeping for sorrow.
Ain't that something else? Now you in your lowest point, going through agony and all of this, and then you come to the people that you're looking to get some support from, and all of them are doing what? Sleep. Sleeping for sorrow. What he say?
And said unto them, Why sleep ye? Rise and pray, lest ye enter into temptation.
So he saw something coming on the children of Israel. All right? But he told them to do what? Pray. All right? The testing of the love of the Corinthian church by Paul, and we're closing with this. 2 Corinthians 8, 7 and 6, because we're dealing with being willing and obedient. What Paul say?
Therefore, as ye abound in everything, in faith, and utterance, and knowledge, and in all diligence, and in your love to us, see that ye abound in this grace also. So
the Corinthian church under Paul, they were all abounding in faith. See, everybody believed, everybody understood, everybody was walking and doing what it is that they were supposed to do. He said they were doing good in utterance. They were able to talk about the word and explain the word and to understand the word. They all had excelling in the knowledge. They were growing in knowledge and in understanding in the word, in all diligence and in love to us. In other words, they loved Paul. They loved his team as he came out to minister and teach to them. And then he says, I want y'all to also abound in this too. I want y'all to not only abound in faith and utterance, knowledge, and in diligence and your love towards us, but I want you to abound in this too. Look at what he says. Come on.
I speak not by commandment, but by occasion of the forwardness of others, and to prove the sincerity of your love.
They had been doing some things a year before, and he's letting them know, I want you to continue on doing what you was doing prior to this in regards to having love and compassion for your brother each and every day. Because even though they had knowledge, even though they had faith, they still wasn't showing the compassion that they needed for everybody among them. Are y'all hearing that?
Yes.
Come on.
For ye know the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, that though he was rich, yet for your sakes he became poor.
So he's letting them know, y'all remember how Yeshua, he came from where he was all the way down here, and he, even though he was rich because he owned everything, he became poor, that through his poverty you might be rich, you might be able to have something. So he was showing them, y'all got some stuff, y'all got some things, but y'all not taking care of everybody with it. And I want y'all to abound in taking care of everybody as well. And he's reminding them of what Yeshua did, that he was rich and he came down and became poor so that everybody can have an opportunity to have something. Come on.
And herein I give my advice, for this is expedient for you.
So this is advice that Paul is giving. It's not a commandment, but this is advice that he's giving, and it's pretty good advice. Come on.
Who have begun before, not only to do, but also to be forward a year ago.
Because they were doing this a year ago, and as they begin to grow in faith and growing in knowledge and in utterance, they started leaving that other stuff alone. They started not taking care of one another. When you see your brothers in need, when you see you looking down at your brother's shoes, and the brother needs some shoes, you're supposed to go get him something. If you see your brother look at their clothes, see that their clothes is wearing out and messed up, you're supposed to take care of that need. Are y'all hearing that? And he said, y'all was doing that a year ago, but all of a sudden y'all growed in knowledge and utterance and all this other stuff, and y'all left off the other piece that brings and unites everybody together, the need of everybody. Come on, what it say?
Now therefore perform the doing of it.
He said, so perform the doing of it. Come on.
That as there was a readiness to will.
As there was a readiness to will. You were doing this already, but you slacked off and you got off of that and you started getting focused on other things. Come on.
So there may be a performance also out of that which he hath.
Come on.
Or if there be first a willing mind.
What did he say? If first there be a what? Willing mind. So he's breaking it down to a church and letting them know and understand that, man, all of the patriarchs from the very beginning, they all had to start off with having a willing mind if they were going to be obedient to follow out the things that the Father was requiring. He said, there be a willing mind. Come on.
It is accepted according to that a man hath, and not according to that he hath not.
So in other words, those that have something to give and to give and to give out, then do that. It ain't gonna be according to the person that ain't got it. It's going to the one that do have it. Okay? So we have to do what? We got to think. We have to begin to reflect on what it is that we're doing and the things that we're saying and the heart and the mind of the things and the will and the plan of Yahweh. Because Yahweh does truly have a plan for each and every one of us. Can the church say amen? How many people got something out of that? Hallelujah. Y'all got something out of that? We have to be what? We have to be willing and obedient, because when you are willing and when you are obedient, what's going to happen to you? You're going to eat the what? You're going to eat the good of the land when you are willing and when you are obedient. That's the only way you're going to begin to eat the good of the land. Come on and clap your hands and give the Father the best praise. Hallelujah. Y'all can do better.
How can they hear without a preacher?